Stasis, maybe one of the most hated cards in Magic's history. And honestly, I get it. But I actually love this card. And today I want to tell you why. It's not hard to see why people don't like Stasis. It's brutal, it locks you down, and it makes a lot of people miserable. But I'm not here to tell you you're wrong for hating it, I just want to share why I don't. One of the wonderful things about the internet is that it exposes us all to differing ideas and perspectives. So if you're willing to share your opinion with me, I'll see you in the comments. Stasis is a blue enchantment that costs 1 and a blue, and it first debuted in Alpha, the original set. When Stasis is in play, players skip their untap steps, and at the beginning of the upkeep step of the player who cast Stasis, they can pay a blue mana, and if they don't, then Stasis is destroyed. This card can be super frustrating, as it disrupts game plans and when combined with other cards, can create a situation that is especially brutal. I still think it's a fantastic card that's really interesting, for a few reasons. Let's ignore breaking parity by bouncing Stasis or using something like Smothering Tithe or Kismet for the time being, and just focus on Stasis in a fair Magic situation. Stasis can be an interesting card that actually gives the opponent a slight advantage when it's used as intended. The person upkeeping Stasis must pay a blue each upkeep, which is harder to do when you don't untap your permanents. Its upkeep cost isn't a cumulative upkeep, but it kind of feels that way as you won't keep it going without combining it with another card. Eventually you'll have to give it up. It also checks for the payment after you untap, so your opponent will get to untap first. Stasis isn't fair Magic, but I don't think it's as brutal as people seem to believe. There are definitely situations where you can get locked out of the game by Stasis and another card, like Kismet or Time Elemental or Smothering Tithe if you want to look at a newer card. But even that kind of stuff doesn't bother me too much. If you get locked, either play through it, I guess, or concede and shuffle up another game. It's not that big of a deal to me personally. I do want to stress that it is totally valid to hate this card, and not wanting to play against it is okay. But I don't think it's a super strong card, nor do I think it deserves all the hate that it gets. If you're one of the many people that hates Stasis, I would love to hear your opinion as to why you hate the card. I am really curious. But let's take a quick aside and talk about the art for Stasis, because it's a pretty interesting story. Stasis was illustrated by Faye Jones, who was an established and relatively successful artist that has been featured in a lot of exhibitions and is included in the collections of a handful of museums. The art for Stasis is disliked by a lot of Magic fans, if you believe the online discourse, but personally I think it's fantastic, and that Magic was a deeper game when the art direction was less guided. It is pretty easy to see why some people wouldn't like the art though. It's wildly different from any other Magic art, even during a time when the art styling varied wildly. Stasis has had 2 more arts in its history, but one of them you won't actually see on a Magic card in the real world, because it's a Magic the Gathering online promo, meaning this particular piece was never physically printed. This one was illustrated by Seb McKinnon, and it's honestly fantastic. It gives me kind of Dark Souls vibes for some reason, but this art is great not necessarily for the styling, but because the story between the card's mechanics and its art feels more connected than it does with the original Stasis art. The last piece of art for Stasis was illustrated by Jeremy Solomon. I'm sorry that I have no clue how to pronounce that name, but hopefully I got close. I really love this art piece. It has the same sort of esoteric vibe that the original art has, while still feeling connected to the effects of the card. It's such a lovely piece that inspires wonder and a sense of depth and complexity for me. It's truly fantastic. This was a secret layer though, so there aren't too many copies of it. Still, it's pretty cheap for how powerful the card is, because people hate playing with it, I would assume. But let's continue with some fun facts about Stasis. This card was not playtested, or at least not rigorously playtested. As the story goes, when they were ready to start printing, it was discovered that the rare sheet needed 15 more cards to be complete. That's actually why the dual lands were originally created. They were pretty easy cards to put together, and they needed 15 more rares. But the other 5 cards put into the sheet were Birds of Paradise, Island Sanctuary, Sedge Troll, Word of Command, and of course, Stasis. I think the unique history of Stasis, combined with its interesting art and brutal but symmetrical ability, all coalesce to form my love of this card. But I will admit it's a pretty fucked up card. That's my opinion though. I'd love to hear yours if you're willing to share it in the comments. Try not to be rude to other people though, but if you think my opinion is stupid, feel free to be mean about it. After all, if I can play under Stasis and enjoy the game, I could probably handle some harsh words. But that's all I have to say on the subject. If you liked the video, please give it a like. You can subscribe if you give a shit, but either way, I hope you have a magical day.